My name is Jonathan Wright, and I am originally from a little town called Albuquerque, New Mexico in the United States. I'm currently living in Phoenix, Arizona in the U.S. and flying for hot air expedition. I've been a pilot for 15 years. I started crewing on hot air balloons 30 years ago. Very fortunate to be in Arizona right now because being out in the desert Southwest, for whatever reason, I think one, we're a little more spread out than places like New York, California. We don't have as highly concentrated cities, so we haven't been affected nearly as much as a lot of places in the U.S. have. Our state has relaxed the stay-at-home guidelines within the last week and allowed small businesses to start opening back up, particularly activities like ours where it's smaller groups and it's outdoor activities where there's more, fresh air. We don't have people inside in a confined space. My home state, Albuquerque in New Mexico. New Mexico is still completely shut down. It's been a crazy time, it's everything's weird, but I think things are starting to get back on track, and I think people are excited to be able to get outdoors and do things like flying in a hot air balloon and experience nature a little bit more. Right. So yeah, it was such a crazy scenario. So the whole thing started, the marketing director at the balloon company got an email and she thought it was just spam or something. She thought somebody was trying to prank us. This guy had sent an email and said, "I'm looking for a hot air balloon that can fly a bus over my house." And I see this email, and that was like basically about what the email said. It was like one sentence, and we're like, what is going on here? So I thought, okay, this sounds completely crazy. I've got to call this guy and find out what's going on. So I call him, and he explains the whole thing, and it's this Fortnite video game, which is a huge rage everywhere. And the beginning of the video game is all of the players are taken onto an island on a school bus that's under a hot air balloon. And this guy, he has this big mansion in Vegas, and they graffiti paint the mansion. And I think they're like on the 8th iteration now. I think the school bus one was like the 3rd or 4th one they had done, but they get teams of graffiti artists and they just canvas the entire house in graffiti paint. And it's really kind of a cool thing. Well, they decided to do the whole house in Fortnite theme graphics. So they paint the whole house up, and then he had the crazy idea to fly the bus under the balloon over the house as a publicity stunt. So he contacts us and he said, is this possible? I said, I don't even know. We'd have to get a school bus and we'd have to gut it and strip it down so it'd be light enough. I mean, this is, we're talking about a huge undertaking. He says, well, we have 1 week. We have to do it in a week from now. Here's what I think we can do. We'll make a stage prop bus out of thin plywood and wrap it around a basket, and it'll look like a school bus, and you can have your graffiti team spray paint it. It'll look like a bus, but it'll just be a stage prop. And I said, I'll design it, I'll build it, and I'll fly it in 1 week. The whole thing probably weighed maybe 200 pounds at most. So it was really, really light. So easy, and we were flying it under a 210. So incredibly easy for that balloon to lift that weight. He's in a neighborhood, so we inflated a 210 on a residential street in the middle of a neighborhood, which was a little bit crazy to begin with. And then, of course, like everything, it's perfect. The winds are perfectly calm. It's beautiful, calm morning. We lay the balloon out down the street one direction, and as soon as I start putting heat in it, the wind turns around and starts back in the other direction. So the whole balloon starts coming back, but we got it stood up, and then it gets breezy. And then it's too breezy, so then we just sat there with like 10 or 15 people just holding weight down on the balloon for, probably 10 minutes or so. And then the winds calmed down. We walked the balloon over into the driveway where the bus was. There's a hole cut in the roof. We flew it up over, set the basket down in, secured the school bus to it, and then we had tether ropes, three-point tether, one in the front driveway we were starting from, and then 2 long ropes, 300-foot long ropes, run over the roof of the house into the backyard at 2 points. So as we went up, then they could pull us on the ropes. We had 8 people on the end of each rope, so we had plenty of people to pull against the wind. and a radio person, one person on a radio at each point on the rope, directing the other 7 people on their rope. So I radioed to them and told them, you know, point A, point B, point C, and just radioed to which point I wanted to pull. And we went up and flew it over the house, and it came off perfectly.
Back towards the front yard, so slowly start letting off. Cash! Start pulling us back! Tell the team, start pulling us back!
I'm not inside. If it falls.
Go, pull us! Pull us! Pull. We're landing this thing. Boom! Move the boom!
Crazy. That just happened.
You guys killed it! Good job! You guys rocked it out!
You just made it.
Alright, we're just gonna...
Then we unhooked, took it back out into the street, and deflated it. And then on deflation, of course, the wind shifted a little bit again. We got a little tear with the balloon wrapping over a stop sign. But, you know, a little 1 foot tear, no problem. But it was the craziest thing I think I've ever done in a hot air balloon. Of course, you know, one of the neighbors called the police because this whole crazy thing's happening in the neighborhood. So the police showed up, and but you know, we talked to him for a minute, and everything was fine. So no problems there. Several years ago at Balloon Fiesta, we had a competition flight during the week where we're launching from across the river and then flying into the balloon field for the competition. My brother and I are flying in my racer. Everybody is launching all in the same area, and all the competition balloons are all flying towards the field. And then all the winds just completely shifted and pushed us all back away from the field. I don't think a single competitor made it to the balloon field that morning. So we're flying east right towards the mountains and towards the Indian reservation, and everybody's just landing out in the reservation. And it's a very sensitive area in Albuquerque with the reservation there. They want us to not land there unless we have to. You have to get the police to help you and escort, and you have to fill out paperwork and all this stuff. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, there's like over 100 balloons landing here. We're going to be here all morning waiting for somebody to come do this. And why don't we just keep flying? And I'm looking on my map, and I see there's a little tiny pocket of non-reservation land right at the base of the Sandia Mountains. And I said, why don't we just fly? And I went up to 8,000 feet, and we got a perfect wind line. I said, why don't we land over in this little spot and we can stay off the reservation? It's going to be great. And then the crew had told us that the wind was going straight north up this canyon. I thought, okay, perfect. We'll line up on the road. We'll go straight north. It'll be easy. We dropped down there. No. We're going straight east, right? Getting sucked up the mountain, doing like 15, 20 knots. Not at all what the crew told us it was going to be. So all of a sudden we're flying like right into the mountain, and like it's not going to get any better anytime soon. And we're past any roads. There's no access. And so I looked at my brother and I said, it's only getting worse. It can't get better. We got to just go here. I said, hold on, this is going to hurt. And we came down, you know, did a terminal descent in a racer. So we're doing like 1,800, 2,000 foot a minute descent from 8,000 feet right at the edge of the mountain to get down and get into this spot. So we landed down just, you know, the balloon was wrapped over like 3 or 4 trees and just all tangled up. And so it took, I don't know, probably an hour for them to drive around and find a place. I said, it looks like we're on a hiking trail, so I think you can find us somehow because people hike here. And so they went into a neighborhood, they found the hiking trail, and they came out, and And, you know, we got the balloon all pulled off the trees, all untangled, packed up, vented all the propane out of the tanks, took the tanks out. We had to walk everything out, probably like a half a mile. We had to walk it all by hand. A bunch of neighbors from the neighborhood, they all came out and hiked out and helped us walk all the equipment out. And, you know, they were excited because, of course, they've never, ever seen a hot air balloon in their neighborhood. My favorite part about flying a balloon, I think, is just the freedom, being in the sky, and the connection, being at peace with Mother Nature. I mean, we're 100% dependent on Mother Nature. I think just that intimate connection of being so in tune with the environment and having to have so much respect for the wind. You know, yeah, we're flying the aircraft, but we're only in so much control, and we have to have so much respect for nature and just the connection to it. I think that's what makes it magical to me, is to know that, you know, we're only a part of it, and nature's controlling the other part of it, and just that intimate connection is just, it's so freeing.